Hey guys, my name is Amber, and for today's video I'm doing part 2 of my August wrap-up. So if you haven't already seen part 1 and you want to see what books I read, all the books that I read, go watch part 1. But for this book, I'm doing part 2 because I was just talking way too much, and I think that video was like 20 minutes long, and so I didn't want to post like an hour-long video. So now we're going to get to the rest of the books that I read, and yeah, let's continue on. So on my last video I ended on the subject of potions for newts. So to get an E, I need to read a friend's favorite book, and I talked about that. I read Pro and Sketchbook. Go see how I felt about that in the last video. But then the next one was to read a book with my Hogwarts house colors. So I'm a Hufflepuff. I actually just found that out. Fun fact, I found that out this month, or in August, because I didn't know, and when I saw that prompt I was like, oh, I don't actually know that. So I took like 10 tests, and like 90% of them gave me Hufflepuff, and then like one random one gave me Ravenclaw. So anyways, I'm a Hufflepuff, and so that's yellow, I believe. So this one, I tried reading this book, OCD Love Story by Corey and Haydu, however you say it. So I DNF this book. Like, okay, so let's just start with what it's about before I start complaining about it. This book is about Beau, or B, I don't know how to say her name. It's spelled B-E-A, and so she has OCD. She doesn't really know at first, but she has like this problem where she like gets obsessed with people, and she's just like, she's obsessed with them, and she wants to know everything about them. She wants to know every little detail. She's like stalking people. Gets a little out of hand, and so she starts going to a therapy group, and she ends up meeting this guy named Beck, and he also has OCD. And yeah, I'm guessing this book is just kind of showing their love story. So from how far I got into it, I don't even remember how far I got into it. It was just like, I felt like their relationship was weird and unhealthy, and they were not good for each other. I don't know if that was the point of the relationship, and maybe at the end they end up helping each other, but it was weird. Like, I just didn't like the relationship. I felt uncomfortable with it because like they had severe OCD, and their problems were really intense, and I didn't like it. I don't know. Still kind of want to finish it though, to find out what happens, because like how I just said, like, I don't know, maybe at the end they end up helping each other, like maybe that was the point. I want to find out if the solution, their OCD, doesn't end, because I don't think it just goes away, but like if they end up getting the right help for it and they figure out how to work through it. We'll see. But no, it was a DNF. I'll try again maybe another time. So instead I chose this book, which is yellow, as you can see, and it's called Summer Days and Summer Nights, and it's 12 stories edited by Stephanie Perkins, but it's 12 stories, so there's a whole bunch of authors in this. And yeah, I gave this a 4.5 stars, and yeah, it was so good. Oh my gosh, I don't even know how to explain. It's 12 love stories, first of all, so that's like my little summary of the book. There's just 12 romance stories. The first 4 short stories, it wasn't it, sis. Like, honestly, I was about to go in a reading slump. This book was probably the book that took me the longest to read out of all these books, because of those first 4 stories in this book. It was just like, it was kind of boring to me. Then we get to the last 8. They were so good. I'm not going to talk about every single story. Like, I can't give a summary for every single one, because then this whole video would be like an hour long. But I'm going to just talk about my favorites. I annotated this a little bit. It was just, I mean, not even a little bit. This was kind of a lot of tabs. If you can see, like, in the beginning I was just like, this ain't it, sis, and then literally at the end I was like, what? So my favorite one from this book was In 90 Minutes Turn North, and coincidentally this was by Stephanie Perkins, and I think that really helped this. Like, it made sense in a way, because like the first 4, I feel like their specialty just isn't romance. The first 4 stories were, so the first one was by Leigh Bardugo, then there was Nina LaCour, I don't know her, maybe she is a romance person, but I just wasn't for that story. Then there was Libba Bray, and then there was Francesca Leah Block. I feel like their romance stories were okay, but Stephanie Perkins, I know she's known for like doing like contemporary romance, like she's known for that stuff, so it just made sense. Like, after I read this story I was like, who is this by, sis? And then I saw it and I was like, oh, like this is literally like, that makes sense. So that one, I'll just give you the summary of that one, but seriously, the rest of them are so good. Like, I really suggest reading this. Just not the first 4, they weren't that good to me, but they could be good to you. So that story specifically was about this girl, and so first she breaks up with her boyfriend, or her boyfriend ends up breaking up with her because she's moving away, and he didn't want to do a long distance relationship, so he said. So then she moves away, she's living her life, but then like while she's still like in the new area that she lives in, they're still kind of talking, really. And so with that, she's just like, I think like she just spontaneously is like, I think I want to go back to my hometown and try to reach out to him and tell him to like come live with her, I guess. If and not just because she's like selfish, like she's like, I want you to leave your whole life behind, but she thinks that his family is like holding him back because his parents own a farm or something, and he was working on it, and although he didn't want to stay on the farm, he felt bad and he was gonna like take over the farm for them because his siblings were not going to like pursue that, I guess. But yeah, that's just kind of the gist of it. So she's going back and she's trying to get him back, and I don't know if I should just spoil it or whatever. No, I shouldn't, but it just, this is me basically spoiling it. It ends so perfectly, and I loved, it was just such a cute story, and his name is North actually, so that's funny because that's in the title, but I love him. Like, I wish there was a whole book on that instead of just a short story because it was so darn cute. Like, and he is such, I love him. Like, he's a soft boy. Like, ugh. I wish I had a North in my life. Like, he was so cute. Just thinking of it, I'm like, I want to reread this right now, like that short story. But yeah, even after that though, like the stories just were getting like so good compared to the first four. I was like, what happened to those first four? Like, why were they included in here? But yeah, 4.5 stars because of the fact that those first four short stories were just not good. But other than that, oh my gosh, it's so good, and I suggest reading this. It's so good. The next subject for the notes was transfiguration, and I had to read an LGBTQA plus all those letters book, and I counted a book that I read in July towards that, and I read I Wish You All the Best by Mason Deaver, and that was a really good book, and if you want to hear my opinions on that, you can watch my July wrap up. Then next for transfiguration, I had to read a book that was not the first book in a series. So I read Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets by J.K. Rowling. Duh, this was a good book. Look at all those tabs. Like, this was such a good book. If you don't know, this is about Harry, and this is his second year in Hogwarts. What is it called? Oh my gosh, is that what it's called? I'm a fake fan. Hogwarts, I believe, is the school. And yeah, there's some suspicious stuff going on. His life is on the line. Yada yada yada. Like, that's basically every book in the series, but it was still so good. So yeah, I highly suggest reading this. I'm sure you already have if you are anybody other than me, but yeah. So with finishing Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, I finished the nudes, and so I am now a healer. I accomplished my goal. So now I finished all my challenges and owls and nudes and everything, so now I was just kind of reading these books for fun. So the next book I read was Saga Volume 2, and if you watched part 1, you probably already know what it's about, but I'll just say a summary for Volume 1 because obviously I don't want to spoil what happens. But so Volume 1 is about this, is in the point of view of this girl named Hazel, and she is the love child of these two people. And so there's this war going on, and there's, you know, this side and this side, and the two people that have Hazel are from both sides, so they're not on the same side. They're not supposed to like each other, but they end up getting together, falling in love, and having a child. And people find out, like important people find out about them making a child, and everybody's like, no, you're not supposed to do that. So they end up like everyone's out to get them. Like, everyone wants to kill them now. I don't know if they're trying to kill Hazel too, but I think they're just trying to kill the parents because they're like, that was a no, you're not supposed to do that. So yeah, this book just kind of goes through them as they're on the run, trying to hide from everyone, trying to kill them, trying to stay alive. And it's really cute. I love how sassy the main girl character is, like, and I love how kind and how he just kind of like deals with her sassiness. The main guy, I forgot their names, but yeah, I really like the relationship, and it's cute. And so then I ended up reading Saga Volume 2, and yeah, I rated it 4 stars, just like I did for Saga Volume 1. Like, even though it was so good, only because, again, of the graphic images that was in it. Like, honestly, I just don't like seeing that kind of stuff. I know some people may like it, but I personally do not like seeing those graphic images, so that's why I only took off 1 star. But still, it was so good, and I highly suggest reading it. The next book I read was Sorcery of Thorns by Margaret Rogerson, and I gave this book 4.5 stars. It was so good. Like, I don't own it. I read it from getting it from the library, but recently I just went online and purchased it because I loved it so much, and I definitely want to reread it soon and like annotate my own copy because it was so good. So this book is about Elizabeth, and Elizabeth was raised in this like library, and so yeah, she's trying to become not a librarian, I guess you would say, but like, so these books have, I think they have souls or something, so like there has to be this person that like protects them and protects the people, I guess, and that person is called the warden, and so her goal is to become the warden. But then one day she gets framed for this murder, so then she ends up, there's this wizard, I guess, named Nathan, and she doesn't like wizards, but he ends up like taking her so that way she could go to her trial or whatever, and so they go on this journey together, and they end up like, yeah, it just goes from there, honestly, because anything other than that just kind of like spoils a little bit, I guess. So it's their journey, and yeah, there's a love story between them. Like, obviously that's not really a spoiler. Like, there's a little love story going on between them, and it was so cute. And yeah, my favorite character though was Silas. I loved him so much, even though he's a demon, and he basically, because he's like the demon person that works for Nathan. That's another cool thing about this magic system, is that the people, to get powers, you have to have, like, you have to summon a demon, and then you owe this demon your life, like your soul, because that's what the demons eat to like stay alive, I guess, is they eat souls. And so you have to like basically sell your soul to a demon to have powers. And so yeah, anyways, so demons are technically supposed to be evil, and basically, I mean, and emotionless, and basically Silas is evil and emotionless, but still, like, there is this just like I love Silas, honestly. And if you read this book for anything, it's for Silas, really, because he is just, even though he's a demon, he's such an angel. Like, I don't know, I really liked him. I feel like there's not much else to say. I really liked it. Romance was cute. Kind of insta-lovey, so that was not cute, but yeah, highly suggest reading this book. The next book I read was Illuminate, the Illuminate Files. Is that what it's called? Illuminate? By Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. This was really, really good. I'm looking down, so I'm looking for the rating that I gave it. Oh, I gave it 4.5 stars. Super good. So this book is about this planet named Carenza, and it ends up getting ambushed by this big group of people, and on this planet is Katie and Ezra. And so they end up escaping, but then when they get on the ships, like there's 3 different ships, when they get on the ships, they end up being separated too. So Katie's on one ship, he's on one ship, and when they get on them, like there's this problem. So they're escaping, they're like, oh shit, we got away, but technically like the bad guys are on their tail, so they're about to get them. And then like the AI system, which is called Aiden, ends up getting like messed up somehow, and so like now the system is also like not helping them. And so yeah, it shows Katie trying to figure out what's going on, because the hierarchy, like the people in charge, like the directors or whatever, are like trying to hide this from the people so the people won't panic. But like Katie ends up trying to like figure out what happens, and yeah, she's trying to like also solve this problem at the same time. So it just kind of shows that, and it goes from there, and it's so good. Like, I feel like when I went into this, I was just not expecting what happened to happen. And also, most of the stuff that I want to talk about, like about how I feel, is mostly spoilery. So that sucks. But I don't know what else to say. It was really good. At times, it got kind of slow, and I was just like, can we get back onto the plot? Because the plot was pretty good. But yes, it was so good. I'm so ready to start getting into Gem now. I annotated a little bit. It was so good. I highly suggest reading this. And it was also very cool because of the you know, files and stuff. Like, it was a crazy format. I also listened to the audiobook. I really highly suggest listening to the audiobook along with this, because it makes it so much easier to understand everything, and there's a full cast, so can't go wrong with the full cast. And finally, the last book that I read was The Wicked King by Holly Black. I gave this 4.5 stars. I'm just ready for the Queen of Nothing. I think it's called The Queen of Nothing. What? That was me during the book. Like, I was just a stuttering mess. I was like, what is going on? That plot twist had me shook. I was just not ready for that. Can this 3rd book just hurry up, honestly? It has me like, I wasn't even thinking about it until just now. I just saw the name The Wicked King, and I was like, that ending had me shook. But the only reason why I took off 0.5 stars was because the beginning, literally like the first 100 and like, I think it was, because I remember specifically, because the exact page that I started getting into it, I like have it memorized now. It's like a page 144, I believe, because I'm crazy. But also, if it gives you a hint, it was because I'm mainly here for the romance. If you saw part 1, I think I talked about the Crow Prince, and I talked about how I was only there for the romance. Like, the plot is kind of there to the side. But yeah, so on page 144, if you haven't read the book yet, that's when the juicy stuff starts coming with the romance, girl. Like, it starts getting intense, and I'm like, oh shoot, this is going somewhere. But also not really. Like, I really thought it was going somewhere, but not really. So yeah, the first 143 pages, I was like bored out of my mind, because again, I was there for the romance. It was kind of building up on the plot, you know, and stuff. And the plot's kind of interesting, especially with that ending. The plot and the romance now are kind of like hand in hand at this point, and like, I don't know what else to say, because I obviously can't really spoil. If you haven't read The Crow Prince, I can't really talk about the summary for The Wicked King. So yeah, I just highly suggest reading The Crow Prince and then reading The Wicked King. The only thing that's bad about it, of course, for The Wicked King is the fact that the first 143 pages are like, were boring. Maybe it won't be boring for someone else, but for me it was boring. But yeah, that finalizes my August wrap-up part 2. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed watching this video. Give it a like, subscribe, comment down below if you agree with any of my opinions or did you disagree, because that would be the true tea. Like, I would love to talk with someone about books that they liked that I liked, or books that they hated that I liked, or whatever. So follow or friend me on Goodreads, follow me on all the social medias, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, anything I have listed down below. And yeah, thank you for watching. Bye.